ሰላም ተማሪዎች እንደምን አላችሁ? ዛሬ ሶልቪንግ ሊኒየር ኢኒኳሊቲስ የሚለውን ይዤላችሁ መጥቻለሁ። ባለፈው ሊኒየር ኢኒኳሊቲስ ሳይሆን ሊኒየር ኢኩዌሽን የሚለውን አይተን ነበር። ሊኒየር ኢኩዌሽን ስንል a function f of x has what equal sign is equal for instance 0 whatever the case we call this is what equations. For instance we consider what 3x minus y is equal to for instance 5. Here is x is equal to let's say 7. Here is 3x minus 4y is equal to what 3. 2x plus here is 4y is equal to for instance 9. This is system of what linear equation. Since you have a system means what it is a combination of two variables with equations. If that's so we call this is linear equation. In case of inequality, this means what there is no function f of x what f of x which is different from what 0 we can say for the first one, or different from 0 means what not equal means what this may be what f of x may be greater than 0, maybe what less than 0, maybe greater or equal 0, it may be what less than or equal 0. We can take different examples on this. For instance y is greater or equals 5, you can consider this is inequality. Let's consider here is x minus y is less than or equal 3. This is also inequality. Let's consider system of inequality. For instance, x plus y is greater or equals 5 and x minus y, for instance, less than or equals, for instance, 3. You can consider. All these are inequalities. Inequalities. You have to see this imbalance. This is a weight, yes? Here is what? This is, let's say this one is x. Let's say this one is what y. When observed here, that means what this one y is what greater than x, since it is weighted, yes, weighted compared with x. So this becomes what x is less than y, or this implies what y is greater than x. So these are some samples of what inequalities. Similarly, if we consider the resources that we have, if someone has 1,000 birr or 10,000 birr, if it has a minimum of this amount birr, so the one this guy can be what can buy a value material with value what less than or equals 10,000 birr. If it has a minimum of this amount birr, in that case it may have what it may use what greater or equals what 10,000 birr. So according to the resource that we have, limited resource, we may use what inequalities. For instance, if you have what x plus y is less than or equals, you can say this is 7. This is the sum of the two material, maybe what less than or equals 7. Here we have 2x plus 7y, maybe what greater or equals, we can say this is 10. You can say x minus y is less than 5. You can say x plus y may be greater than what? Here is 6. Or y may be greater or equals what? X plus 7 and so on. All these are indicating what? Inequalities. How can we solve such problems? We'll consider here. System of linear inequalities. As the name indicates, system of linear inequalities, all the exponents or the power of the variables that we have must be what? 1. That means if say x is less than or equals 5, this is linear. X plus y is greater than 7, for instance, this is also linear. It consists what? Here is less than or equal, here is what? Greater than. So whatever the case, the symbol must be symbolized as what? Less than or equal, greater or equal, or different from, or not equal. These are the signs that indicate what? Inequalities. It is a collection of what? Two more linear inequalities. In that case, we may consider what? X minus y. You can say this is 7. X plus 2y may be greater or equals, for instance, 6. And the other may be what? X plus y may be greater or equals what? That is 16, for instance. All these are what? Inequalities. It may consist of two or more inequalities. So the best way to solve such problems, we use what? Graphical method. How can you solve problems using graphical method? We will discuss later. In case If the graph of the line is solid line, that means it is not broken when what? The sign is what? Less than or equal or equals. Greater or equal. Less than or equal ወይም greater or equal sign ካለው ምን ማለት ነው? Use what? Solid line for the graphical method. In case if it is less than, strictly less than, or strictly greater than, in that case we use what? Dashed line. That means what? Points on the line do not considered or that are not what? Member of what? That line. Depending on the inequality sign you have. The solution set will be what? Overlapped region of all the inequalities. Overlap means what? The intersection of what? The regions that we consider. If we say x is greater than 3 means what? You have to use number line here. If here is 3, it is greater than is. This means what? Greater than, it doesn't include 3. So this is the interval that consists x greater than 3, or we may express what? 3 to positive infinity. You see? It is open. Open. Similarly, if we say that this is x is less than or equals, for instance, 2. Here we have, let's say here is 2, yes? Less than or equal means what? A maximum value for this is what? 2. Otherwise, it is less than or equal. It includes what? 2. It is closed interval. We can express this as a form what? Negative infinity to what? 2, including 2. Here we have. You can consider such intervals. Here we have what? Either of these 4 cases. This says that A to B. This means the interval consists between A and B, but doesn't include A and B. A and B are what? Boundaries. Yes? They are boundaries of your interval. Boundaries. And we call this is what? Open interval. Open interval. Similarly, if you consider this one, in the case of A, it includes, that means the closed brass. This indicates that the interval including A, but doesn't include B. We call this is half boundary or half closed, half opened, half closed. The same for the case of this one. They are half closed, half open. This one is what? Closed in both cases. It is what? It consists of interval between A and B, as well as including what? The boundary. We call this is closed interval. You think thus? Let's try to solve such problems. Y is greater than x plus 3. How can you solve such problem? First, you have to make it this as a form what? Equal sign, x plus 5. After that, you'll try to find the x and y intercepts for this line. Y is equals x plus 3. Let's sketch the xy plane here. So, when we take x is 0, the value of y is what? That is 5. When y is 0, the x-intercept x is equals what? Negative 5. So, we join these intercepts to sketch the graph of what? Linear equation. So, this is inequalities. Since it is greater than, it doesn't include all points on the line. So, we use what? Broken line. This one. This is the line y is equals what? Is equals x plus 5. Make it bold line, but here is what? Dashed line. Since we have what? Inequality, it is greater than. To test whether in which region it lies, here we have what? One region on this side, the other one is what? On this side. To justify that, where this graph or this region satisfied, take one of the arbitrary point either on this side or on this side. For simplicity, 0, 0 is what? On this side. The origin is on this side. So let's test this one. When you test here, it becomes what? Y is 0 greater than 0 plus 5. This implies what? 0 is greater than 5. Is it greater than? No. 0 is not greater than 5. So the region which is true is what? On the opposite side. This one. This is what? Y greater than x plus what? 5. The region is this one. Here we can denote what? Try to find what? The domain and range of this one. Domain means what? The value of x. Range is the value of y. As you observe here, it consists what? Positive x 0 as well as at the left side of 0. That means negative values of x. If that's so, the domain is what? Domain of this region is, the domain is what? The set of what? All real number. Which is equals what? It is range. The range of this is what? This graph is all real number. Similarly, let us consider this one. It says what? Y plus x is less than or equals 3. You have to make this as equal sign. Take it. This is y plus x is equals what? This is equal to 3. After that, we'll try to find the x and y intercepts for this particular example. When x is 0, the value of y is what? That is 3. When y is 0, the value of x is what? That is 3. The graph this. This is what? Less than or equals. If that's so, we use what? Closed. That means bold or what? Solid line. That means we join the intercepts with solid line. Here we have. And as we did before, 0, 0 is what? On this side, the origin is on this side. Or you have to take what? Arbitrary value on this side. If it is for simplicity, it is better to take what? 0, 0. It is easy for substitution. 0 plus what? 0, which is less than or equals 3. Yes? Yes, 0 is what? Less than or equals 3. It is true. So, the region that satisfies this inequality is what? This region. So, this is the value. That means y plus x is less than or equals what? This is 3. As we did before, what is the domain and range of this function? What the domain? The domain of this is what? All real number, since it consists positive x's, zeros as well as negative values of x. This is equals what? The range of what? Our region, which is y plus x less than or equals 3. So we can solve problems or sketch the graph of what? Such inequalities. So from this inequality, we can identify the value of x and y that satisfies the given inequality using what? Testing point. We call this 0, 0. We take here 0, 0. We call this our testing point. Not only this one, you have to take what? Pointers on the opposite side. Instead of 0, 0, you have to take some values arbitrary here. Instead of 0, 0, you have to take some values on this region. So you get the same result as we did here. Let us consider this is what? System of what? Linear inequality, since it has what? A combination of two inequalities. So how can we sketch and find the region which is common for both? Let's consider this one. Y is greater than x plus 5. As we did before, this means you make it equal. This is x plus 5. After that, find the x and y intercept. When x is 0, the value of y is what? That is 5. When y is 0, the value of x is what? This is negative 5. So, since it is greater than, we use what? The broken line. This one. And the region which satisfies y greater than x plus 5, as we did before, we take 0, 0 here. 0 is greater than 0 plus 5. 0 greater than 0 plus 5. Is it greater than 5? No, it is not. So the region is on this region. Which region satisfies what? Which is y is greater than what? X plus 5. This is the region. Similarly, for the case of what? Y plus x less than or equals 3. As we did, we make what? This is y is plus x is equals what? Make this one 3. When take x 0 means what? Y, the value of y is what? That is 3. Similarly, when y is 0, the value of x is what? That is 3, yes? Now, use what? Solid line or broken line? With what? Solid line, since here we have what? The inequality, less than or equal inequality. So, we use what? Solid line. Here we have. And it says that y plus x is less than or equals 3. Let's take a common value that is 0, 0 on this region. 0 plus 0 less than or equals 3. Yes, it is true. So the region is on this side. So we take the one which is common for both. That means overlapped region or the intersection of them. This is the region which is common for both. This is the common region. that satisfies both inequality. So the region, this was what? The feasible region, or the region that satisfies both y greater than x plus 5, y plus x less than or equals 3. Yes, here is the region. If that's so, we can find the domain and range of such function. Here we have they intersect somewhere. So you'll try to find their intersection by making what? Simplifying these two equations what? By intersecting the intersection point. That means x plus that means what? Y is equals what? X plus what? 5. Substitute this value into this equation. This means x plus 5 plus x is equal to what? That is 3. X plus x is what? 2x. Here we have 5. Take 5 to the right side. It becomes what? 3 minus 5 is what? This is negative 2. What the value of x? X is equal to negative 1 by dividing both sides by 2. If that's so, what the value of y? The value of y is what? It's equal to x plus 5, which is equal to what? That is 4. So at this point, they have the intersection point at what? At a point, this is negative 1 and what? That is 4. 4. So this region consists or continues in this way. This also continue on this way. When you take the value of x, x must be what? Less than or equal negative 1. It must be less than, since one is bold line or solid line, the other one is what? Broken line. The one which is common for both is what? The broken one. This one is what? Include all points on this line, but this one says that it doesn't include all points on this line. If that's so, the common region for this is what? Less than negative 1. So the domain for this is equals all real number. X says that x is less than what? X is less than negative 1. Or if you want to have to express in the form of interval, this is negative infinity to what? Negative 1 open interval. In case of range, since it consists what? On this side, and it consists on this side, that means it consists negative value of y, as well as 0, as well as positive values of what? Y. So the range must be what? All real numbers. The range is all real numbers. So we can justify and find the domain range of the given region in such forms.